Falling Stars by Played Crowd 5610. Chapter 10. Bolted Down. Summary. Wakey wakey! Heart. Starscream's system came online sluggishly. One by one his processor was fogged, and the edges of his awareness felt dull and hazy. Something was wrong. Everything was wrong. Then came the pain. A deep, throbbing ache resonated through his frame. His wing joint screamed at him. His knee burned as though it had been completely crushed, and even the slightest movement he managed to make sent fresh waves of agony lancing through his circuits. Why did he hurt so much? Normally when he was in this much pain, it was after Megatron. The monitors came flooding back all at once. He inwardly flinched, remembering Megatron's grip as he ripped the Seeker's wing clean off while crushing Starscream's knee almost beyond repair. His optics refused to obey, system flashing warning as they wouldn't come online. He tried moving, but was stopped by something. His spark stalled. He didn't need to see to know his arms were restrained. The hard, unyielding pool of cuffs locked him to the cold, hard surface beneath him. Panic surged through him, lighting up every circuit in his frame. No, no! Starscream thrashed against the restraints, desperate to free himself. His spark pulsed erratically, his cooling fans kicking into overdrive as his vents drew in sharp, ragged breaths. It didn't come loose. He was stuck. He couldn't be stuck. He wouldn't be restrained. What would happen to him? At least before, he had the power to run, to cower, to move. But now? He tried to sit up again, yanking harder on his arm. He heard metal clangs as he pulled again and again against the cuffs. He could feel something tearing, but he didn't care about the pain right now. All that he cared about was that he would no longer be restrained. Suddenly, there was a massive surface pressing against his chest, pinning him to the berth, stopping his frantic movement. His spark stuttered violently, his processor screaming warning of danger. It was Megatron. It had to be Megatron. Not again! Not again! Starscream stayed down. It took a second for the words to register in Starscream's processor. The voice wasn't Megatron's. It carried a tone of calm authority that confused his spiraling thoughts. Then, Optimus Prime. The realization brought no comfort, only fresh confusion and dread. Why was he in Autobot custody? What had happened? What were they going to do with him? He twisted against the restraints, his frame trembling with panic. He tried to vocalize, but all that came out was a burst of grumbled static. Right, his vocalizer was also crushed by Megatron's grip. His field flared with indignation, his claws twitching and scraping hard against the table beneath him. It was all he could reach and dig his talons into. Metal screeched as Starscream thrashed and scratched. Let go. Oh, me. He rasped, static and crackling pops filling his vocalizer, his words ending in a pained hiss. You're about to undo all the work I did to keep you online, Starscream, snapped another voice, sharp and impatient. If you rip out your spark support cables, I'm not putting them back in for you. Ratchet, the other medic. Starscream stilled for a fleeting moment, processor reeling. Spark support? His spark fluttered unevenly in his chamber, weak and strained. The meaning of Ratchet's words seeped deep into his guts. Calm down, Ratchet ordered. If you keep thrashing, you will only damage yourself further. Starscream's optics finally flickered online. The ceiling above was rough and rocky. It was a cave, lit by harsh overhead lights. His optics started down, taking in the restraints bolting him to the berth, and the thick cables that ran from his chest to unfamiliar machines that he assumed were responsible for the soft humming he could hear. He tugged against the restraint again, testing their strength, but they held firm. What had happened? How did he even get here? His processor scrambled for clarity. Then, the memory slammed into him like a physical blow. Danny. The last thing he remembered was the human crying, pleading for him to survive. Please be okay. Danny had begged in Voxian, voice cracking with desperation. He remembered Megatron raising his fusion cannon, aiming it at Danny, and Danny had been shot. Starscream thrashing renewed, alarms blaring in his HUD. He ignored the sharp warnings and pain, his focus consumed by the need to know the air. He rasped, his vocalizer sparkling and glitching. Useless fragging thing. His narrowed optics fixed on Optimus with a mix of fury and terror. Is Kurtz he? Suddenly the sound of rushing footsteps echoed through the room, and Starscream's optics flickered downward. The source. Starscream! Then he yelled out, relief warrant with panic in Starscream's systems. As the human rushed into the room, his expression frantic. The scuds. Starscream tried to raise, only to have the servers on his chest slam him back down again. His movements were jerky and frantic, his panic fleeting into his failing systems. He needed to get that off him. He's in danger. Starscream tried to transform his servers into a blaster, only for the transformation to painfully fail halfway in a mess of twisting, screeching metal. Optimus's optics widened at the impending threat. Danny barely made it a step close before Optimus's massive servers intercepted him, scooping him up effortlessly. Hey, put me down! Danny yelled, twisting and kicking against the Prime's unyielding hold. Starscream hissed low and gruntled, his vocalizer sparkling violently as he bared his denta. His optics flared with raw panic and anger, his thrashing escalating as he fought the restraints. Rel is ag im I n he Starscream screeched, the sound mangled and warbled, but no less desperate. He bared his denta again, his narrow optics locked on Optimus with primal fury. Enough! Ratchet barked, grabbing a tool from a nearby table. If he keeps this up, his spark is going to give out. Hold him still, Optimus. Starscream froze at the sight of Ratchet's tool, his processor jumping to the worst possible conclusion. Were they going to sedate him? Rip him apart? Finish what Megatron started? The panic swirled, a storm of fragmented thoughts and fear crashing through his systems. His vocalizer sputtered, static-laden protests. His optics started between Ratchet, Optimus, and Danny. Danny squirmed harder in Optimus's grip. His body ached with the effort, but he didn't care. Every moment Starscream remained restrained, thrashing and panicking. Danny's heart pounded harder. The sight of the tubing torn loose from Starscream's chest sent a cold jolt through his stomach. Amerigon was starting to spill on the floor. Stop it! He's terrified! Danny's voice cracked with desperation, his arms frailing as he tried to free himself. You're making it worse! Let me go! Danny tried to phase through the medic's grip, and his form flickered for a brief moment, but it didn't make it through. If he weren't so drained, he would have been at Starscream's side by now. Optimus adjusted his hold slightly, loosening his grip, but not enough to release Danny. Starscream is disoriented. He needs time to... Optimus grunted at a particularly harsh thrash from the Seeker, putting more weight into holding him down. Stabilize, he finished. No, what he needs, Danny snapped, glaring at Optimus with every ounce of anger he could muster, is for you to stop pinning him down. He is scared of his processor. You're not helping. Starscream's frame jerked violently, his optics flickering in and out of focus. His raspy vocalizer sparked again, emitting an unintelligible grumble of static that sent a pang of helplessness through Danny. The Seeker trembling only worsened, his claws scraping futilely against the restraints as he arched against the berth. Then he knew what that felt like. To be bolted down in an unknown place, surrounded by people who you thought would hurt you, unable to do anything about it. Then he clenched his fists, furious that he was so powerless. He scanned the room desperately, his hand instinctively reaching for the blaster he'd left in that spare room earlier. Useless. All of it was useless. Optimus had to focus on keeping Starscream down and restraining Danny at the same time, while Ratchet tried to grab the medical equipment and attempt to reattach what he could, but it was almost impossible with how much the Seeker was moving. "Optimus, please!" Danny's voice was hoarse now. "Let me help him. You don't understand. He's not going to calm down until he knows it's okay." Optimus hesitated, his optics narrowing in thought. Starscream let out another pained hiss, his thrashing slowing as the Miragon loss began to take its toll. If he was to lose any more, it could become deadly. "Optimus, we are running out of time," Ratchet barked from the other side of the berth, tools in service. "If he doesn't stop moving, I can't reconnect the cables. Either we let the human try, or Starscream's going to offline himself." Optimus' optics flickered, doubt crossing his usual steadfast expression. With a heavy accent, he slowly lowered Danny towards the berth. "Starscream is unpredictable. Be cautious." And he didn't wait for him to finish. Scrambling out of the service the second it was loose enough, the moment his feet hit the berth, he sprinted towards the Seeker, ignoring the Prime's warnings. Danny climbed up Starscream's frame with ease. "Starscream," Danny said, his voice shaking, but steady enough to carry through the chaos. He pressed a hand against Starscream's shoulder plate, trying to anchor both himself and the panicked neck. "Hey, it's me. It's Danny. Look at me." The Seeker's movements stilled slightly, his optics flickering as they tried to focus on the human. "I'm here. You're safe," Danny said, keeping his tone calm despite the pounding in his chest. Starscream tried to pull at his arm, almost as if to reach up towards Danny. Optimus twitched, as if ready to snatch up Danny again, but the restraint held. "Starscream, no one's going to hurt you. I promise. I won't let them hurt you." Starscream's trembling lessened, but the panic was still evident in his faint, static-filled whines, escaping his vocalizer. Then he pressed his forehead lightly against the side of Starscream's chest plate, closing his eyes. "It's okay," he whispered. "I've got you. Just take deep breaths, okay? In and out. Focus on me." Starscream's optics dimmed slightly, exhaustion finally overtaking panic. His ventilation slowed. Ratchet stepped in quickly, taking a moment of calm to start reconnecting the tubing with practiced efficiency. Then he didn't move, keeping his attention solely on Starscream as the medic worked. Then he let out a shaky breath. "I'm here," then he whispered again in Voxian, his hand never leaving Starscream's plating. His voice was too quiet for the others to hear, but hopefully loud enough for Starscream. Starscream's optics flickered one last time, before dimming completely, and his frame sagged against the berth. "Ratchet?" Danny's voice cracked, his hand still resting on Starscream's plating. "Is he fallen into recharge, but stable?" Ratchet replied, already working to reconnect the rest of the tubing. That had been ripped loose during the thrashing. Danny hated this, hated seeing Starscream like this. Ratchet let out a weary sigh as he finished securing the last tube. The Miragon flow is stable again, but his system will need time to recover. He will likely remain unconscious for another couple hours. Danny exhaled in relief, but didn't move from Starscream's side. He brushed his hand over the Seeker's plating, as if reassuring himself that Starscream was still there. "This should have never happened," Danny said bitterly, his voice low, his shoulders tense, as he finally turned his gaze towards Optimus, who was watching silently from next to the berth. "You!" Danny snapped, his voice rising as he stood, his fist clenched at his side. "You didn't listen to me! You almost got him killed!" Optimus's optics narrowed slightly, his demeanor remaining calm despite Danny's outburst. Danny, I understand your frustration, but... No, you don't understand. Danny cut him off, stepping closer. His voice cracked as he pointed towards Starscream. How many times do I have to convince you? How many times do I have to defend him before you stop treating him like he is out to kill me? Optimus's tone remained neutral, in a way that infuriated Danny. Starscream is unpredictable. My priority is your safety. My safety? Danny's laugh was sharp and humorless. I don't care about my safety. You think I'm scared of him? After everything? Danny, Optimus began, but Danny wasn't done. Danny's chest heaved, his glare unwavering. Don't you ever dare try to keep me away from him again. I don't care what kind of logic or excuses you throw at me. I won't let you. Optimus regarded Danny in silence for a long moment, his optics unreadable. Finally, he inclined his head slightly. I will take your words into consideration. You better, Danny muttered, turning his back on the Prime and returning to kneel at Starscream's side. As Danny sat by the unconscious Seeker, no matter what, he wouldn't let anyone or anything come between them again. And that was the chapter! Fun. I like doing these emotional things. Those are always great to read. If you like this video, leave a like. If you like my videos in general, feel free to subscribe and share the video. I do Podfic commissions, so if you have any fanfiction you would like me to read, you can contact me over Tumblr or Discord. Infos to that are on my channel description or on the screen. Normally I say it the other way around. Oh well. If you do decide to commission me, you can get early access to my Discord server, where you can know clearly what I'm uploading next. Make fun of scammers, I guess. Yeah. And listen to my recordings live. I am cutting this very sleep deprived. So, not many recording highlights this time. But there's still a bit, so... Just the highlights of the highlights. Oh, yeah. Go. No, wait, this is hard. The static ate out of that. Okay, I got this. Lit by harsh, overlight lights. Relief warrant. His fists clenched at his sides. Enjoy the rest of your life. Or no. Enjoy the rest of your time. See you next time.